Coming at you live from DNHQ in beautiful South Pasadena, California. This is the Blue Heaven Podcast. What is going on, Dodgers Nation? My name is Clint. You can find me as Real FRG on Twitter and Instagram.
Yes, you can. My name is Brooke. You can find me at BrookeMe3 on Twitter and Instagram. The guy to my right, that's Eric. You can find him at EEULAU.
Nailed it.
That's Eric.
He's bad at words, guys. He's real bad at words. Guys, welcome to Blue Heaven. Cheers, and thank you to our friends at Jim Beam for getting us through the next hour or so of Dodger talk. So, crack open a brewski, and we're going to talk about what's on today's show. Brooke, why don't you tell them what we're going to hear?
Rumors. We already talked. Well, I mean, we talked about it internally. I guess you guys weren't here for that part of it. I kind of forget that you guys aren't always watching us. But Josh Hader goes to the Padres, so they're, World Series bound. Talk a little bit about JD Martinez, a guy that Doug
Doug
has
high
been
on. This
all
guy's
about
been high
on. I think I've brought it up a few times even, and that's out of pocket for me. We'll talk the asking price on him because things are just getting real insane. We got the little bit of movement on the starting pitcher front. That should probably move along pretty quickly tonight into tomorrow morning. With that, Luis Castillo. It's another name to keep an eye on because the Dodgers obviously need pitching. We'll go with the latest Dodgers news and rumors and more and so many different things because guess what? James Outman.
He improved his trade value this week.
He's that guy.
This weekend.
He's that guy.
I'm pulling up a James Beam highball here for today's show. So if you have a drink, don't be drinking and driving. But guys, before we get into the show, we got to remind you that this is a podcast where you could rate and review us on any of your podcast platforms where that is allowed. iTunes is a great spot. You can go there. You can also find us on YouTube, youtube.com/DodgersNationTV. Hit the bell, leave a comment, leave a like, do all those things that help get us in the algorithms, and it'll get Eric a hat without a hole in the back.
You don't like the snapback song?
No.
Yeah.
He's a grown-ass adult.
What's it like being an ass adult?
Anyway, before we get into the show, also, don't forget this is a live stream. So leave your comments. Let us know where you guys are checking in, representing Dodgers Nation in the comments tonight. We got some killer comments already coming in. So we're going to go through those. I got to pull up my comments here because they're all over the place. But you guys are coming. They're coming in with the heat.
Cool Whip Special says James Outman is worth 10 Juan Sotos.
Oh.
I mean, you don't see Juan Soto hitting 750 or whatever he's hit. I don't know what he's hitting. Probably 750.
Hell of a damn.
Triple short of the cycle.
John Davis says, do you see us getting Soto? You got to stick around because we're going to talk about that. We're not going to show our hand that early. Come on. You got to put it towards the end of the show so people stick around. Don Kim said night graphic, by the way. Don Kim really
we got new intro graphics. So check those out because why not? User on YouTube, user Big Hit says, love the 3 Up, 3 Down podcast, Eric. So you got a fan.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
1 of 10.
There's like 12. Come on.
Oh, that's big time.
Ari
By the way,
Swordlow. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
he's up to 259 followers now.
I like the cricket mix there. Right. Ari Swordlow says, can't wait for a trade to break live. If you guys remember back in 2020, 5 minutes before we hit the live button, maybe 10, 15 minutes before we hit the live button, Mookie Betts got traded to LA.
Mookie, can't you see?
And it was a wild 15 minutes for us to try to figure out what the hell we were going to do.
Brandon Guerrero says rumors that Soto is going to the Dodgers. Well, Grammer, maybe not. I don't know how I feel about that yet, so we'll talk more about that in a little bit. We got Bob Nightingale in the stream, by the way. Randy Watson says, evening, everybody. Appreciate you guys all hanging out with us. Carl Stout, Soto the Dodgers. Let's make it happen. Soto the Dodgers would be wild. I mean, it would be wild is an understatement for sure. But Jay-Z in the flesh, in the stream on YouTube. I got a feeling the Dodgers are going to get Soto. You had that premonition this morning.
Yeah, I was kind of just standing around, and I was just like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I just feel like they're going to get Juan Soto all of a sudden.
Was that the alcohol shakes?
Yeah, I'm having a real bad come down, so it's definitely part of it. I don't know. It's just like one of those things. I felt it in my nuggets. I was like, it's time to put it out there into the ethos.
Speaking of Bob Nightingale, Brooke, spelled incorrectly, but at least they tried. Or maybe it's on purpose. Is it on purpose?
Yeah.
Would you trade your 5 top mime prospects for Soto? That was on a super chat.
Oh, thanks for the super chat. My 5 top mom prospects?
Yeah.
Who's my top 5 mom prospects?
He needs to see their war. He needs to see their war first before he makes this trade.
I need to see.
Pelon says cheers, by the way. So
they're expected BJ. I don't know. I don't know what we're looking for here.
Break jobs.
But yeah, I absolutely would trade them all for Soto. Nice ladies.
Anthony Keene, smarts is fitted better than snapbacks. Agree. Anything's better than a snapback because,
man, Anthony's been such a supporter of my fledgling little career here, and then, but hey, everyone has hat preferences.
Then he just slams your love. El Yaki. I'm hoping that's a Jackie, and she spelled it Yaki, but El Yaki's repping blue from Arizona. Stay dry out there. I think I saw Arizona's basically flooding right now. Craig checking in from Lawndale. We got some love for Outman. I love James Outman.
Ooh, James Oat Milk.
Yep.
Dairy free.
Yep.
Since 93.
Saul Trujillo on the YouTube is going to be watching this game tonight with his fiance. Just recently engaged, so congratulations. Get out while you can.
Yeah, the leading cause of divorce in America? Marriage.
Yep.
It's a joke. You have fun. Be good.
Alex Renteria says, Artie Moreno, thumbs down, and I'm pretty sure 99,000% of Angels fans will fully agree with you there. Roach says, my daughter wants Brooke to stop DMing her mom. That's pretty good. Carnivorous Lunar Activity checking in. Dean Sanchez says, just don't trade Bobby Miller. I think some of us agree on that. B. Rusk, Ass House Muncie's trade value at this point. Oh,
great.
It ain't there right now.
He's on a team-friendly deal. He still has a lot of cachet.
He has a lot of ass?
A whole lot of
cachet.
ass.
Ooh. Oh, man. Look at OGs. Oh, man. OGs. Wait, what did I see? I saw somebody was a sailed loner checking in. One of two people on Twitch right now, live on Twitch. For some reason, we're about to hit 300 subscribers on Twitch, which is wild. By the way, we finally surpassed the 50,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. So we thank you guys very deeply from the core and our soul and all those other places. Doug thanks you greatly. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do it while you're here. Let's get into the show. This is the Weekend Recap brought to you by the Dodgers Nation app. Download it on iOS or Android stores now. It's free. And it's an app that gets you Dodgers baseball straight on your phone. What the problem is. The Dodgers made a trade. Chris Martin is coming to L.A., and I'm sure Dieter Rule is going to have a hell of a time having Chris Martin in the stream. In the field.
I saw the trade. I was like, won the deadline. Of course we won the deadline. I think the biggest thing for us that we've been talking about is no disrespect to Zach McKinstry whatsoever. Absolutely no disrespect to him. I don't know how the hell that guy's hung on this long. He's one of those dudes where you're like, well, they obviously have they're not invested in you at all.
Yeah.
So why are you still here?
She's
why are you
just
still
not
taking
that
a
into
roster
you?
spot? Yeah. I mean, he had his little hot streak, and then he had an oblique strain, and then everything was done from there. And then he started hitting with his eyes closed.
Yeah, you remember that timeline?
I don't know.
Did you see that timeline last year where apparently he was like closing his eyes through contact, and it took them a while to figure it out?
Never played professional baseball, but I would think that you need to have your eyes open to hit the ball. He had a nice April in 2021, and then, like Brooke said, just injury after injury after injury, just never got back on track. But he had a nice thank you to the Dodgers organization on his Instagram. I thought that was very, very professional.
And now he gets terrible pizza.
Big fan of Lou Malnati's. Apparently grew up in that area.
It's lasagna. I made lasagna last week. It tasted just like Lou Malnati.
Listen, we've done this.
Yeah, I can't revisit this. We'll do wins and deep dish all in one episode.
There you go.
Snapbacks.
Stay tuned for the offseason. Hey, you know what? I really hope McKinstry gets a chance to play out there with them terrible, terrible Chicago Cubs because they are a bad team, and there's no reason for him to not get an opportunity.
Yeah, he should play. Yeah. Get him some time. Yeah, get him some time up there. You're
maybe get that average up to like 220.
Or he'll be Matt Beatty.
Hurt his back? Or whatever's
kind of like, hey, I'll finally get an opportunity. And it was like, yeah, never mind. But yeah, good for McKinstry. Gets to play. Should get plenty of runway there in Chicago for the next couple of months. And then who knows?
And yeah, again, in the move, Chris Martin comes to L.A. The big thing about Chris Martin, it's a move to bolster the bullpen. He's better than the burrito himself, Reyes Maranta types. He's better than a Jake Reed. He's better than a Garrett Clevenger type, who, by the way, was also traded today. Clevenger, gone. Left-hander traded to the Rays for, I think, a bucket of baseballs and a guy named German or Herman Tilapia.
Tapia.
He's a Dominican, an outfielder from the DR, as
I
they
love
say.
the DR.
Yeah.
If anything, the move was to free up a roster spot. Our friend Ken Rosenthal was talking about how the move was to free up a roster spot for down the road, looking at protecting against the Rule 5 draft. No, this is because they got about 6 dudes on the 60-day IL that need to come back.
And they will.
May soon.
Trinan's getting closer.
Question mark.
Eddie
Rios
Bew.
and eventually Butane. So there's going to be more of these moves. We were talking about it, I think, last week. We're identifying some of the dudes who can easily be DFA'd or
Traded.
or worse.
Or traded.
Jake Reed is right there on it. Eddie Alvarez, you're on the clock as always.
2-time Olympian.
Yeah, I think you can pretty much say, like, regardless of how these
Two-sport
next couple of days play out, or next 24 hours or whatever you want to call it, there's a 0% chance Eddie Alvarez and Jake Reed have a spot on this roster.
No.
Like, long term.
Wait, you're telling me that you would take BD Eddie Rios over
Eddie
Alvarez?
A little hard. Different Eddie's spelled different. Yeah.
Is Chris Martin on the playoff roster for the first round?
Yeah, I think he is.
It depends.
I think if he's healthy, then yeah, he's probably on it.
It seems like the type of veteran reliever, even if he comes in with like a 5.1 ERA, there's going to be all this talk about how they worked with his sequencing and his release point, and they really figured some things out.
Pitch mix. Dodgers do that. Pitch mix. That's all it's going to be.
All
they're going to do is be like, this pitch is better than
great
that.
years.
They're going to teach him the slider.
Yeah, good years.
I mean, he's older, but they're going to throw that slider out.
He's old.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's had good years, but he's still, again, going to be better than
The guys you had out there.
Maranta.
Right. You also have to keep in mind there's like a Danny Duffy looming who we have no idea what the hell's going to happen.
He apparently threw another bullpen session, which doesn't mean very much.
Trinan's
Or it means
supposed to throw to
everything.
hitters tomorrow. His shoulder
Are
feels
you
good.
some Dodger blogger?
Actually, he's the Dodger blogger. I am a Lakers hack. I just pretend.
I don't know what is going on in the chat, but Bran likes somebody's wife.
There's
I
just
saw
like
that
this
too.
huge spate of wife talk, and we're just gonna keep the train moving.
David Arredondo says that they're looking for Kurt Rambis on Winning Time. Take that mustache over to HBO. Do I look like Kurt Rambis? Young Kurt Rambis?
No, you're saner than Kurt Rambis.
I like to
for
think
sure.
so, yeah.
Welcome to Hacks and Bloggers. Thanks you.
Hey,
Thank
that's
you.
our next website.
Boomer Assassin. But before we talk about any more of the trades and moves and rumors, let's look at the last week of Doyer baseball since we were last here. Most importantly, as one Dodger blogger hack predicted, the Dodgers went 4-3 on this last stretch of baseball games because I am a genius.
Shout out for remembering the right amount of games in a week.
I like to thank my good friends at Jim Beam for that one. The Nats take 2 of 3 because, of course, they're a terrible team. Why would the Dodgers not lose 2 of 3 to them? That's just how things go. Somehow they do go in and win 3 of 4 in Colorado. Nobody died that we know of. Nobody exploded yet. Brooks' liver died out there. The Bats kind of saved everything in Coors Field after relatively bad starts from Kershaw and the Catman. I do want to talk about Catman because this is something that you, sir, have alluded to for the last few weeks. You know, this is more than he's ever thrown. The numbers were not good. 4.40 ERA in July, 15 earned runs over 30 and 2/3 innings. Is it just a lull, or is it the beginning of something bigger?
No, I think this is definitely, it should be an indicator for them to be like, we probably need to take a little easy on him a little bit. Let's pull back on him a little bit. Obviously, he carried the load with Tyler Anderson for the first part of the season. When you had Walker Buehler shit in the bed, then getting hurt, you had Clayton Kershaw getting hurt, you had pretty much Andrew Heaney died for the first part of the year. Those two guys carried, and they did a great job, and they're fantastic at it. And Tyler Anderson, I mean, credit to that dude, he's still doing it. Like, he is still freaking doing it. But with Tony, like, that's a guy that you're going to need in October. You're going to need him for that run. And so if that's your mindset right now, because your mindset is not, let's win, let's break the win record this year or anything like that. That's not your mindset. Your mindset is, I want to win a World Series this year. How do you do that? Well, Tony Gonsolin absolutely needs to be fresh and ready to go. I think that based on the people that are coming back, they're in a good position to do that. And I don't think it would be honestly be that difficult or that hard to manage around that.
As of right now, Gonsolin at 104 and 2/3 innings on the year. Previous professional high, 128 back in 2018. So it's been a while. You mentioned Tyler Anderson. One dude not struggling. You've been on the Mr. Duck train, I would argue, for more of for the majority of the season, or at least part of the season. 1.11 ERA in July, somehow just getting better.
He's looked great. I mean, to be fair, I am the one that said I think he's going to have a huge come down to earth second half. I just think he's, when the velocity's not there, I think it's impressive he pitched well in Colorado. He also has pitched a lot in Colorado, but I do think he's hitting above his weight class, punching above his weight class, so to speak. But look, you need him right now, especially with the back end of the rotation has been solidified, and he's a big reason why. You love what you're seeing from him, but it's too good to be true.
Yeah.
This is like Alex Wood vibes in his All-Star year, Ross Stripling. Like it's just not sustainable in my opinion.
If he is one of your top 3 guys heading into October, how uncomfortable do you feel?
Very uncomfortable. Very you're looking at him like
even if he showed out and proved it the entire season, I agree. Like you don't have that level of trust.
He could walk in, he could have his game 3 start in the NLDS or whatever round they're going to be in. And his ERA for the regular season would be 1.97, and I would still be really, really concerned just because the track record, there's just so much data to support the fact that he's an average pitcher on most nights.
We believe in him. Slightly above average around here. You look at these two dudes, they're throwing a lot of innings. I think you could just keep throwing Anderson out there because guess what? He's a 1-year rental.
Yep.
Tony, you absolutely need to worry about. Heaney is back. Who knows for how long? You maximize whatever the hell. And homie's fresh. We know that much. D-May is not too far behind. Arms keep getting healthy. It's a prime opportunity to back off on Tony. Even honestly, I would back off a little bit on Clayton Kershaw. I don't think he should be going out there demanding to go 6-7 innings every single start. I think he should get an extra day here and there. Same with Julio, because you got a good lead. You got a 10-plus game lead in your division. Sure, the Padres are getting better, air quote. You're on pace to win 107, 109 games, whatever the hell it is. You're in a good spot where you can take your liberties. You can keep running Craig Kimbrell's out there to see if he's somebody you can trust into October. I think we do not feel comfortable about that dude right now, but maybe he figures something out in the next 2 months. But you don't need to worry about an abundance of wins over the next 2-ish months. You need to worry about keeping these dudes healthy and effective into October. And we saw last year, Julio, not healthy, not effective in October. Walker, hopefully, finds a way to come back because he was not effective last October, but we've seen him be extremely effective before. Maybe you start seeing some piggybacks. The Dodgers are trying to build up Dustin May to start right now. Maybe they go with a 6-man rotation. You got 7 options once he's back. A lot of trouble, a lot of concerns, but maybe we see a little bit of bullpen time for Tony.
I think you're going to see a lot of Mitch White starts between now and October.
I don't know. I mean, if we see Mitch White, something might have gone awry.
No, I mean, I think it is just one of those situations where they're going to give guys extra days rest. I mean, they're not going to call.
How many? How do you weave?
They're not going to call it a 7-man rotation. They're not going to call it a 6-man rotation. They'll never admit to that because for some reason that feels bad to them, and I've never really understood that. Like they always get so defensive about it.
Yeah,
don't know where that comes from. I don't know who's king shaming Dave.
It's a sign of weakness.
But
it's to be the 10-day IL when they didn't have the rule when they had it for pitchers and they just abused the hell out of it.
Exactly.
And everyone got extra rest. And to Clint's point, the straw that stirs the drink on spacing all those starts out is Dustin May.
Yeah.
Once Dustin May comes back, that'll allow you the flexibility. Mitch White still has a couple more options tonight. They can really space it all out and get those guys the extra rest. I don't foresee Gonsolin going to the bullpen during the regular season. I think maybe they shorten the starts up. Maybe it's, hey, once you get to 60, 70 pitches, like, we're done. Mm-hmm. Like, you're coming out. Because you've seen the efficiency drop. You saw that at Coors. And I know, it's Coors. Like, no, that's his, I saw you were pulling up the stats. That is what, his, third pretty, start in a row. Then you throw in the All-Star game, which I'm not the biggest believer of doing that.
All of his starts.
It's been rough, and that efficiency, which was a big weakness for him when he first came up, that's kind of starting to rear its ugly head again.
We don't make the decisions. We just make the smart decisions. Listen to me. Clearly, I know everything. Again, 4-3 record on the last over the last week of games, so I clearly know all the things. Notably, you hear a lot of names. We just rattled off a lot of starting pitchers. They're mostly quality pitchers. I mean, you can't really justify, Dave can't justify, the front office can't justify going up to Tony and being like, hey, you're an all-star, you had a great first half. Sorry, you're coming out of the rotation. Tyler Anderson, you've been great for us all year. Sorry, we're not going to start you in October because you've never done it. But these are all dudes. These are all a bunch of arms that are quality assets. They are going to bridge the gap to October. They're going to find a way to do some sort of amalgamation of not necessarily saying somebody's in the bullpen or necessarily saying it is a 7-man rotation, but they are going to buy time, keep these guys healthy, and importantly, long segue, they're not going to go trade for anybody. They're not going to trade for any starting pitchers. Want to know why? Well, the big names are already now off the list with trades over the last 4 days, I guess, combined. The first brick fell last week with Benintendi going to the Yankees. That was kind of like the move that showed the Yankees are going to be in on things. And now today, Frankie Montas, the big-time name, former Dodger prospect, Frankie Montas, goes to the Yanks for a pair of relievers. If anybody's going to be the biggest challenger to the Dodgers and getting that sweet, sweet piece of metal at the end of the year, it's the Yankees. And you got to argue this got a whole lot better getting Frankie.
I mean, you look at what they've done just in the past week, and you're like, that's probably a team that's like middling and like trying to get back into first place in their division. So that's not what's happening. The Yankees are pretty dominant right now, and they just added like 5 more names to the Joey Gallo still on the team. So.
I mean, that's addition by subtraction because now you're like, hey, look, Joey, we got another dude. We got old COVID McGee over here that deserves to start in left field over your ass. And I mean,
if they can get Joey Gallo out of New York, I think they're going to be a significantly better team, which is really saying something because it's a really good team that they already have over there. Yeah. I don't know what the hell's going to happen with Aaron Judge. That's a weird situation. But Joey Gallo sucks.
Another piece of metal contender, Astros, the hated ones. They get Trey Mancini. He gets freed from the tyranny that is Baltimore. Any of these AL East moves, I guess? I mean, it's sort of just AL moves. Just how do you feel?
Well, the Astros are in the AL Central.
And it's a general AL.
The
the Astros, because the Orioles, you see.
Orioles,
East.
So to Brooks' point, I think the Montas trade is kind of eye-opening for the Yankees, just how often they've traded prospects the last few years. It's pretty mind-boggling, and I think a lot of it, too, is maybe there is a sense that Aaron Judge is leaving this winter, and they know that this may be, with this group, not that they're not going to contend in the next couple of years, but this could be kind of the last hurrah with this core group that they've really carefully built. Talked about Garrett Cole, Stanton, Judge. Who knows what happens with Gleyber Torres, all of that. I think that could be a sign to them that they're pushing all their chips in the center of the table, making that deal for Montas, who's been on the trade block since 10 Februaries ago. I don't know, since forever.
It's been about there.
So it's pretty impressive. But, speaking of, there's really one frontline starter left out there of note, and that's Carlos Rodon. I see a couple people in the comments, what if we get Carlos Rodon? The Giants have traded with the Dodgers twice in 50 years.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen, even though Farhan and Andrew go back to their time at the Dodgers together.
Best
and they have
friends.
each other's cell phone numbers. The Giants are not going to hand over Carlos Rodon, who, could be a free agent here in the very near future, but I don't see that happening.
And if they are, it's going to be for a massive pickup. I mean, the Giants are in the spot they really wanted to be last year, which is middling. Okay, they went out and signed a bunch of potential trade chips for the deadline. They just happened to be on some sort of magic potion that kept them winning last year, but they really, really wanted to be able to trade away Alex Wood. They wanted to be able to trade away people like Donovan Solano, I think was still around.
Donnie Barrels. He's not even on the team anymore. But yeah, I agree with you. They kind of their success put them in a weird spot on how they approached the deadline last year. And look, that's a really old team. And there's a lot of baseball left. You have the extra wild card spot. I would not be shocked to see the Giants get that wild card spot. But you look at what I know everyone's, especially when Rodon, he's on Sunday Night Baseball, right? He pitches really well. It's that prime time. It happens all the time with Monday Night Football. Someone has a good game, someone has a bad game. It's probably the only one of the 3 Giants games you're going to watch as a fan. You're like, oh my God, Carlos Rodon's a god. That's all great and fine, but he's not coming to the Dodgers.
No.
That's not happening. I love the idea. I love the passion. It's not happening.
I would take Dustin May over Carlos Rodon. I would take Tyler Anderson at this point over Rodon.
I would take Rodon over both those guys.
Coward. Want to know why? Because those guys we already have are free, and they're not going to cost
prepaid
prospect capital with a capital. All right, sir. Another move mentioned also in the stream, so shout out whoever said it. The Astros also picked up another kind of co-glove first catcher with Christian Vasquez going to Houston. So I don't know what you do with him and Martin Maldonado, but neither of them are elite hitters.
Well, it's kind of tough
Good
too to
game
get
callers,
to
though.
a new rotation, and you have 2 months to work with all the new pitchers that you're supposed to catch and get all that
Didn't
dialed
he
in.
just say earlier like he's never played baseball and he doesn't know anything about anything?
He's not very good at office baseball.
Oh,
To my point, kind of hard to learn 5 new starters and catch them all efficiently and call it a good game.
listen. You have scored more runs than he has. He just wins because we can't hit his wild ass everywhere pitches. Moving on.
Everybody else's problem, huh?
Yeah. Listen. You're the problem, man. You're the problem. Soto, though. Soto's the big one. And now everybody that's been commenting Juan Soto, now's your time. If we have a hype tweet, now's the time to set it out because Juan Soto is going to be possibly traded or not. I don't know. The rumors say it's Dodgers or bust, but also the Padres are in play. The Cardinals are in play, but they don't want to trade away. What is it, Dylan Carlson? They don't want to trade away
Cardinals.
another one of their big time prospects after having traded several big names to go and get Arenado, and then before then to go get Goldie a couple years before that. They say they're going to be aggressive. I don't know. Talk Soto. Let me know.
It's just one of those things that when it came down to like, hey, there's 3 teams left in the mix, I was still very much of the mindset of I think Passan had said it, where it was like, hey, this is probably just them kicking the tires down the line, because we've had the conversation internally, we've had it on the podcast where we're like, why do they need to trade him right now? Like, it doesn't do anything for them to trade him. First of all, they're going through an ownership change. All right, that's happening. Why would you trade him away in the middle of that? That doesn't really make any sense. But also, you have more years of control. So use those years of control. It's not going to make that much of a difference for a half season versus a full season, whatever it might be. It didn't make a lot of sense. But I got more and more excited about it. I got looped in. I got pulled in hard by that for sure when things started coming out. When they're like, hey, the Dodgers are being pretty aggressive. I was like, that actually makes sense. I could see them being aggressive. Looking at this roster construction, looking at what we've been able to do with our prospects. And I don't know how they view their current crop of top prospects. I think that's kind of something that's in flux a little bit right now, where we know how they feel about Diego Cartaya. We know how they feel about a Bobby Miller. But beyond that, you look at like the next couple of guys on that list and you're like, Andy Pajes, Miguel Vargas, Michael
James
Busch.
Outman.
James Outman's a little different circumstance. But
Untouchable.
you're talking about like in the top 5, top 7 prospects, you're looking at those names and you're like, they might not care about those guys. Like they might look at that and be
Yeah,
like, we see him.
Everyone's board is different.
Yeah, everybody's going to value different. We all don't have that one guy who decided to tweet the picture of whatever their big board was. And
The Orlando Magic GM. Nice pull.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah. I got you.
I'm so goddamn proud of you right now.
Synergy. Corporate bondage over here.
I think Brooke made a good point too that I heard today from someone who's a lot smarter than me and knows a lot about baseball. Is a lot of the conversations in July are also laying the groundwork for winter trades.
Right.
So
Which happened with Mookie in 20.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that same gentleman, Jesse Rogers, reported that he said if Soto gets traded, he sees it as LA or bust, which I thought definitely. I didn't stop my car on the freeway because that would have caused a huge accident. But that definitely gave me pause. And his point was only the Cardinals and the Dodgers really have that mix of current major league talent.
Yeah.
Talking about Dustin May, Gavin Lux, just throwing names out there, and the prospect capital to make it all work. Where the Padres. They didn't give away any of their best guys in the Hader deal, but do they have that really strong mix of everyday players they're willing to part with that can contribute now for the Nationals, be part of the Nationals' future and prospects? But I still would never rule out A.J. Preller. I mean, that guy would trade his grandmother in the Soto trade if he could.
Well, you're also looking at who they
she's
gave
alive.
away for Josh Hader too, and they still have like their prime elite prospects available to them. They still have them, and those could be very well guys that the Nationals are high on. They absolutely could be. Obviously, we don't know, but there's a lot of big names in that system. But if they did, that farm system would be blanked.
The big problem I have with any potential Juan Soto move is yes, it will cost current major league assets. And that is a concern because you're bringing in somebody of the stature and bravado of Juan Soto. And, I mean, he's a good dude. He's a good player. He has a friend in me and in, Trey Turner. He probably fits in fine. But to get him, you got to imagine Gavin Lux is in a trade like that. And you're subtracting a big clubhouse piece. This is a Dodger team that's playing very well, and they are loaded with chemistry because they've kind of been through it now a few years. You know, I use liberally, got out of the Peterson, Kike era, Puig era, rebuilt, changed, you changed the kind of chemistry, you changed the clubhouse makeup, and now you're in a good spot with this team. Lux is in a good spot where he feels comfortable. He's probably more vocal. You got Hanser the Answer being, they say the funny guy glue there to whatever, but you change that. You pull this guy out and you get Juan Soto in there. That's a massive shakeup.
Infectious energy, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, I have a concern with that. This is a team right now that's built well enough to win.
Dave Robertson, Clayton Kershaw agree with you.
Yeah.
For sure. Both of them said, we love
And-
it. We love
and
we,
Andy.
And Andy. We love that we explore trades, but we think we have everything we need. The other, Buster only said, and I hope this is what's happening because Friedman's the mad genius. He just thinks the Dodgers are staying in the Soto race just to keep jacking up the price for the Padres. And that is Shifsky's.
I think that's what they were doing last year with Scherzer, and then they were like,
happened,
"Oh
they're like,
shit,
oh,
we can
shit."
get him."
They were like, yeah, deal. And they're like, okay.
They said yes.
I think for me, like I watch people online like make these
Creep.
potential lineups if you have Juan Soto in there. And my question is, why is everybody putting Mookie at second base in these lineups?
Oh, because they
Wait, does
don't
he
do
need a
smart.
position to play, Soto?
Do people realize that like,
Cody sucks, but
well, yeah, I mean, aside from that,
and
but
then
also
Mookie's a good center fielder.
a lot of people don't actually know that Juan Soto spent most of his time in left field. He spent a lot of time in left field. So it's like, it's not like he can't play left field
No.
just because he plays right field now.
You can't and listen. You can't give up. We call him Juan Soto Jr., Trace Thompson. You can't take him out of left.
It's different. I mean, he's going to be a more platoon mashup, and he's going to be a bench bat. We know that.
The clear option is Cody Bellinger. Sit your ass down, Mookie. You're a starting center fielder.
I prefer the move one guy, not move two guys. And so if you're going to move somebody, move Juan Soto to left, and Chris Taylor can play second. And he should because his foot is broken when he comes back.
Plus,
But
we're
then where
talking
do you play
chemistry.
Lux? We need
He
a
got
third
traded.
baseman. Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
He's
Plus,
gone.
if we're talking chemistry, you're going to bring in, like you said, you're concerned about chemistry. You're going to bring Soto in and then bench Bellinger, who I think has a lot of cachet. To use that
Sway.
word again in that
Weight.
clubhouse.
You can't have very much cachet when you're batting 210.
I'm just going off the fact that especially David Vassay is very big on like Cody Bellinger's a very popular guy in the clubhouse. So I don't know how well that would go.
And his
over.
ass could be popular on the bench, just like Hanser Alberto is.
He's like the dumb kid that you keep around. You're like, I love this kid.
He's got a pretty damn good glove. Like I would put Soto in left.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't hurt at all to have him over there and left. It's not.
Man,
it's
what-
not like he has an elite defensive
Man,
talent.
Listen, guys, this is really some fucking hard shit we're talking about. These are tough decisions to make.
I know all this embarrassment of riches.
no! Where do I put my hundreds of thousands of dollars?
All I'm saying
I have
is-
to open a new bank account.
Some careless persons have left thousands and thousands of dollars here just lying on this coffee table.
I like seeing Mookie playing second base every once in a while.
David also corrects saying, "Nah, you sit Muncy." Yeah, but again, you need a third baseman. You need somebody to play
JT.
the infield.
JT's a
Do you remember
phenomenal third
when's the
baseman.
last time he played? When's the last time he played baseball?
Listen, Hanser the Answer is also on the bench. Okay, he's available. We'll
Soon-
find a way.
Soon to morph into
Put
Brendan
Cody
Drury.
at third base. We'll figure it out.
Juan Soto, new third baseman. Juan Soto's not
Cody
all that
standing
great,
at third
right, by the
base,
way.
like, ew, a lot closer today.
Wait, do I have to be like crouched when the guy in the pitches? I like standing up.
Roach says Jamie Carroll at second base, and he brings
Shout
it all
out.
back, grounded back to reality here
Follow-up-
because
follow-up
Juan
question.
Soto's not going to be a Dodger.
Is Jamie Carroll the ugliest baseball player to ever play?
He's a weird looking dude.
Yeah.
He's weird.
Nah, there's worse.
Yeah.
I mean, Aaron Judge is up there.
Jamie Carroll's
But
pretty rough.
Jamie Carroll's friend Aaron Judge looks a lot better when he has the beard, which is why he's going to look good when he's a Dodger in a couple of years.
Yeah, you're pushing that narrative hard. You've been all over that.
I was 100% right.
Non-tender Cody, sign Aaron Judge. Those are the two pillars
Easy.
of your Dodgers
it's
philosophy.
just a puny extra 17 million you're going to throw in there.
Well, it's
whatever,
more
to
than
get him up
17 million. We talked about this
No,
last
it's
week.
going to be 34. I'm giving in this scenario at 17. That means I'm giving Judge 34 a year.
Right, but for Bellinger, I'm agreeing with you. Trust me, it's 17 million plus the luxury tax on top of the
Listen,
17.
that's not my problem,
We're
right?
getting deep in the weeds now.
Anyways,
Let's get out of the weeds, like Cody.
what if you can somehow? I'm surprised. We've only seen it a few times here in the chat. They say Jock Peterson's available, and we've already established that likely the Giants aren't trading with the Giants. However, Giants aren't trading with the Dodgers. However, if Farhan and Andy are hooking up on something, it's going to be sending Jock back home. Or he could play center field and Cody Bellinger.
You know what would really play up for this team? A guy who's hitting 130 in July.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Get him out
What the
here.
problem is.
What the hell?
But you don't understand.
No power, nothing. He's got
We
no
can
home runs
finally
in
get the
July.
toilet paper answer when he's in the clubhouse.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Is it too late to schedule a Jock Peterson bobblehead if they end up trading for him miraculously, which I don't think is going to happen?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But it's him in a Giants uniform
All I'm saying is like
with Tommy Pham.
Listen, we move Freddie Freeman to third base. Jock plays first. And then you move two guys like Brooke wants.
That was the longest 10-day experiment of my life.
That was the
Jock
worst.
Peterson at
That was
first.
the worst day. This is the worst era of my life. I really hated that because I do good first base ish. Anyways, moving on. Yeah, Shohei Ohtani not gonna get traded because why would the Angels trade away their meal ticket? I don't even understand why. Okay, I understand why the headlines were out there. It just was never gonna happen.
It sounds like they were taking calls on him at least, which is like a big shift in their.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you answer the
have to.
spam likely,
Right.
you're also taking calls from,
You have to take the call
spam
for sure.
centers.
Andrew Spamman.
Shohei Ohtani is not going anywhere. Most of the Angels' money is tied up in Japanese marketing because, he's a pretty popular fella. By the way, I drove by Angel Stadium yesterday.
Congrats.
Man, it just straight up looks like a minor league ballpark when you're outside.
It looks
It's
like,
like
when you
they're-
drive through Lancaster and like the Rockies, like low A is out there.
Yeah, that's what it looks
just
like. It feels
that.
exactly
Yeah.
like it's like a 3-tier, Lone Mart field.
I thought of Brooke on Saturday. I mean, I'm always thinking of Brooke, but on the bottom ticker it was Fletcher activated off of IL for the Angels. I was like, oh, thank God. That's the shortstop they needed. Would you guys rather have Shohei Ohtani or Soto? You only get
We've
one.
already done this like 17 times.
And
but
we
you
all
know
said
what?
Shohei, right?
Yeah. You're getting 2 players for the price of several because it costs a lot of people to get the guy like that. Did you have any useful thoughts on Shohei and if there was actually any real meat to a deal?
No, I mean, it sounds like
Maybe
the
the
Dodgers
maple kind?
tried to engage in conversations, which I'm sure that was like Andrew Friedman being like, "Hey, it's me. What's up, Harry?" And he's like, "Who is this?" And he's like, "It's Andrew." And then he's just like, "Fuck you," and just hung up the phone.
No, he was like,
You.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
So I'm sure it was just one of those situations. But of course, the Dodgers were going to check in. The dude
Yeah.
apparently I don't know where this has come from because he's like said something similar, but also like I don't necessarily know that he actually meant it like this.
Yeah.
But he does seem like he wants to play for a West Coast team. He wants to win games. He wants to win championships, and that's why he picked the Angels.
By the way, Perry Maniason was like, hey, it's Andrew Friedman. And he was like, it's Andrew. Am I allowed to talk to him, Artie? And then he was whipped.
And then he just
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, yeah. And then Artie was like, he still messed up the Jock Peterson trade. And he had a cat, like.
Sounds like Danny DeVito.
Nah, I mean, it's real. It was me channeling like some Conan O'Brien stuff.
Okay.
Well,
That's
that-
Conan O'Brien reference.
The evolution of the Ohtani on the Angels is interesting because he initially chose them because they were one of the few teams. That was before the DH was in the NL. It was one of the few teams that was going to let him pitch and hit. And now it's like he's X amount of years in, and now he's like, it'd be nice to win and DH and pitch. It's like, oh, you figured it out.
Yeah.
Winning is fun.
Winning builds chemistry. That's how it be. Saw a comment here, like Francisco saying Artie was like, "Get back into your cage." That's pretty good.
I feel like I don't remember who did it. It might have been like Jeff Fletcher or DG or something. Did a kind of put out a feeler to Angels fans about Artie, and every single email he got in response was just not one person defending Artie whatsoever.
I mean, what's defensible?
And he
Keeps the lights on.
bought players. I don't know. Nothing good
Shout
about
out to
him, man.
Vernon Wells.
Bad contracts, bad everything.
Shout out to Gary Matthews Jr. Shout out to Josh Hamilton. Shout out to letting Vladdy Guerrero
There was
Sr. walk.
CJ Wilson?
At the Rockies game, there was a bunch of dudes
worked.
wearing sell the team Dick.
Dick
That is-
Momfort.
Oh, I would love to have a team owner named Dick.
Dick?
Yeah.
I love how he signed Chris
Gary would
Bryant
get so mad at us.
just to try everyone to tell everyone to piss off. Like, you don't spend money on your team. He's like, fine, I'll sign Chris Bryant. Shut up.
Also, if they keep Daniel Bard, I think somebody should like
They
They
extended,
extended him.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If
Yeah,
they keep him, though, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you take what you just did for
They
him
said
and
they're
you
going
trade
to
him.
keep everybody.
It doesn't make any
Doesn't-
sense.
Yeah, never.
They're a
because
great winning.
They had a better deal for Nolan Arenado from LA, and they said, no, we're going to go here and get
So
worse or more.
Daniel Bard having the season that he's having right now at age 37. They think he's going to improve? Like, what? How does that play out well for you at all? He's going to improve at age 37 playing in Coors for a terrible team?
I know one thing, and that is that Nolan Arenado will be a Dodger by Christmas.
If I were the GM of the Rockies, I would get them a World Series faster than anybody that they have there right now. And that's not saying that much. It's a pretty easy job because they don't do anything. All they do is okay. I'm done talking about the Rockies. Also, Coors Field, not that great, by the way. That's just my opinion. It's not that great. It's kind of whatever. Kind of meh.
I liked it, but I also wasn't there when it's 91
You've been
degrees.
to Pittsburgh, right? That one?
Is there?
Is that like one of your top?
Easily.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
That's like the top. That's for me like the best modern ballpark that I've been
It's
to.
on my list for next summer.
It's a hell of a time.
I got a pool. I don't need to go anywhere.
Go Birds.
Yeah, go Birds. Reading your notes here, I see you might have missed a bit of news.
Oh, did something happen?
Yeah, Luis Castillo was traded to the Mariners.
Castillo got traded?
Yeah, he's gone.
I thought you were
know that.
kidding. You said that during the open. I wasn't going to correct you because it's your guys'
Yeah,
show.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
you
dude,
know,
I was pretty checked out for the weekend. That's awesome. He's a Mariner?
Yeah, he's a Mariner.
Yeah.
Was it a big haul?
it was like four. It was four of the top prospects from the Mariners. but
It's
seems
kind
to
of
be
viewed as a
disputed.
good deal for both sides.
Oh, I like that.
The return
So
was
Seattle's
labeled
trying
as significant from Jeff Passan.
He did that twice this week.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did it for Haterade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Castillo is
I mean, it's a fun addition for the Mariners.
yeah, I feel like it's like a good fit, you know, like personality wise.
They need somebody that's, grown up.
What is their record?
They
I think
are
they're-
playing baseball.
I think they're like a game or two out of the wild card.
Oh my
I
god.
thought.
They're 12 games back in the West.
Yeah, but it's about the wild card.
They're
man. There's
55 and
there's
48.
like
It's not
15
bad.
teams that make it into the postseason now. So
Yeah, I just found out there were 3 wild cards.
nothing gets by you, Chief.
Dude, I'm out of it, man. It's not a good day. Anyways.
Angel asking the question here with the $1.99 super chat. We thank you, Angel Villalobos. Would you replace Alberto with Puig? Well,
Only if we got to play third base.
oh, that'd be fun.
That's gonna be a no from me, dog.
Yeah.
There's Milt's kind of backing you up here. So like when dudes go to Seattle, they're forgotten. It's fair.
Adrian Belcher did pretty good.
Juan is upset at you for not knowing. And listen, we every once in a while we get just a semblance of opportunity to disconnect from every single baseball headline that could be possibly spun out there.
Juan, I was with your mom this weekend. It was real distracting.
Yeah.
My bad.
Michael says, Brooke and GM, sorry for that team.
Oh, beer prices.
Brooke right now.
He's the Rockies GM calling the Reds.
Calling the Reds.
Hey,
I'm here to check in on that. Here's a cigar. Check in on that Luis Castillo kid you got there.
They're like,
You still got that Castillo feller?
And
They're like, do you
"Wait,
follow Jeff Passan on Twitter?
What's the Twitter?
it would be one of those situations where they were like, you remember when they called on Alvarez and they thought it was a different Alvarez that they were calling
Yes.
on? Yeah.
when in Rome. But
That trade haunts me.
I guess the final bit of borderline connective tissue to like an actual Dodger rumor is Pablo Lopez from the Marlins potentially being like linked to LA. Very minimal, as all good real LA potential trades are, because you don't hear about it if it's actually going to happen.
Great young pitcher. Very exciting. I mean, the Marlins pretty much said everyone but Sandy Alcantara is available.
Alcantara.
Sandy Alcontroversy. So I would love to see Pablo Lopez, but it sounds like the Dodgers probably aren't going to make a trade for a frontline starter. It's interesting. They also got linked to JD Martinez, who, God, I would just do a backflip if they got JD Martinez.
Porn bots,
but-
yeah.
Oh,
I
man,
got
the
it.
porn bots are back.
I got it. We're trying.
Anyway, as I wax politically about this Marlins pitcher, here's Brooke.
I just think it would be really cool to have a guy named Pablo on the team, to be honest with you.
We don't need a pitcher unless it's a reliever.
Years of control, though.
Wow.
What?
can't just control people. You're so controlling.
All I'm
Brooke.
saying, I've heard that. All I'm saying is like you do need to start thinking about the long-term future of your starting rotation and your pitching staff. And right now, it's kind of in flux in a couple different ways. Like Julio is going to be a really interesting situation to me. Like to see how that plays out. I have no idea what kind of bag that guy is going to get because realistically, what he's done, what he's been able to do while having training wheels on for a big portion of his career, he should get the bag. Like he should get a pretty hefty bag.
There's
but I don't know that he will
get the bag.
Well, yeah, the guy who
Mr. Scott Boras
negotiates for him is going to push him.
Yeah.
But that's been a thing for me where I'm
Julio.
like, I don't know what kind of contract that guy's going to get at all because who knows?
The LA is going to let him go and go with young, controllable dudes like a Pepois, like a Bobby Miller, unless
Booby.
either of them are gone.
And then Walker's just going to get the bag. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you had to, if you had to,
Yeah, if you had to
pick one of those two guys right
You
now,
going
I
Walker?
think. I don't know what I would pick personally because I feel like early on, I felt like Walker was going to probably have more Cy Young awards than Clayton Kershaw.
Like-
I thought he was going to be that guy. But the way things have gone in the past like 3 years, I don't know that I feel that confident in
I
him.
feel like Julio's stuff has more longevity
for sure.
than Walker because
for
we're already
sure.
seeing Walker struggle with, a lack of velocity and a lack of sticky. Oh, the people on the Twitter are going to be big time pissed that we suggested something that was factual.
That's a
even
tough
read.
question because I think Buehler's October, the actual breadth of his October resume, not just closing out Game 6 of the World Series, which was
But
fantastic.
did you know that Julio closed out Game 6 of the World Series
I did. It's a great game. Watched
and
it.
Game 7 of the NLCS?
Yeah, I happened to catch both those games as we all did.
Wow, rich kid.
cool.
Rich kid watching on the TV.
On the television? That's a tough question.
You probably have more than 13 channels on your UHF television.
I think you have more channels on your Spectrum app than I have on my DirecTV stream.
Yeah, I definitely do.
Yeah, and you also have a pool.
And
So
I could watch it. I'm in a real conundrum before we get back to you. I'm in a real conundrum because when I'm in the pool, the 40-inch in the backyard just doesn't cut it. I got to get a bigger TV, but when it's an outside TV, it's just, Anyways, back to you in the studio.
Bruce dropped into the super chat says LFG Soto the Dodgers needs to happen. Yeah.
You were saying words?
love the Soto support. No, I was just going back to your Buehler versus Urias question
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
5 months ago, it would have been unequivocally Walker Buehler. For
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Like, he's the
I get
guy.
that.
The October resume. You're talking about Cy Youngs. I think we all, if the over under was a half a Cy Young or 1.5 for Buehler in his career, I would still take the over. But man, the forearm stuff, Tommy John, the performance before Tommy John, like all of that is pretty dang scary. Maybe there is a world where Buehler's offered kind of not as big as Max Scherzer, but like a shorter 3-4 year prove it deal with an opt out after year 2, and then you give Urias the bag in the 6-7 years that he wants. Just throwing that out there. I don't know how you feel about that. You seem to be pondering that.
I mean, you're a big time city
You're a GM.
GM now.
Yeah. I work for the Rockies.
Yeah.
I left the stadium going,
Yeah.
let's go
You
Rockies.
work for Dick. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a clip.
This is definitely going to be something that we're going to have to talk about, which, it's a good conversation for another day because that's years off. Not years. It's closer than you think. But we're going to have to pay a lot of dudes. And I think the biggest, Cody's really going to mess up some things for people, I feel like. And I'm not looking forward to that conversation after next year. Not you, Cody. You're doing great.
Cody's the best.
Wait, what's the hard part? Non-tendered.
I
There's
think-
not a
I
difficult.
think you are-
It is
you
not
are-
a difficult decision.
I think you are failing to understand the significance of Cody Bellinger to this team, to
I-
this
I
organization, and
don't
to this fan
care.
base. I know that you don't care, and you shouldn't because it's a business. However, there is a lot to a player like that of his caliber, what he's done throughout the course of his
21,
Dodger career,
22.
and what he brings to the clubhouse and
Bad.
organization. So with that, they're not going to suddenly non-tender him a contract and just let him go
You can
while
get
he's
him
still
on-
in arbitration.
Get him on a $4
They're not
million
gonna do that.
deal. Sure, he can.
Well,
stay.
you're not getting him on a $4 million deal.
Exactly. He's not worth what he's getting paid right now. He's not worth more, and he's not worth a little
optics.
less.
The optics are terrible.
Why do you need to hold on to somebody just because they were good once?
They did that with a lot of players.
I think that you fail to recognize how important he is to
the
this
Dodgers
team.
do not. Yeah, I mean, Kike was significant to this team, and we moved on.
Yeah, but it wasn't a situation where we didn't tender him a contract while he's in the middle
Yeah,
of arbitration.
he had the opportunity to go out right off into the sunset.
Right, they'll let
Rich
Cody
Hill
sunset. They
was
will let Cody
very
sunset.
significant to this team, and
There's a
they
difference
didn't bring
between
him
letting
back.
a player walk off in free agency and cutting them before they
Okay,
get to
well
free
then
agency.
have him hit. Have him hit the damn baseball again.
I think they're trying.
And while we're at it, Muncie's a free agent after this year, right?
I don't think they're non-tendering Bellinger. I wouldn't non-tender Bellinger.
Sounds like a bet.
Put it on the board.
Put it on the board. I got $1 million. I can't see it.
I have another solution. He gets a 2-year deal.
That sounds very Dodgery.
With the team option for the second year?
Maybe a team option for a 3rd year, honestly.
But man, I mean, the optics on that for old Scott Boras.
Well,
to
he knows
take
what he has,
the-
though.
To take the prove it deal.
He knows what he has. He knows what Cody's been doing, how he's been. It's not like it's like, hey, you had one bad season. We're talking the second half of 2019 all the way through now. Like that's sustained struggle.
Well, I mean, even second half of 19 was a good year.
It was a good year, but in terms of like him like heading
But
down,
yeah,
for sure.
Since then he's hit like 207.
I mean,
since 19 or since 20.
The best thing is whenever what happens with Bellinger, something's gonna come out from like 2021 of an extension he turned down. I mean, this is probably a rare losing proposition for Scott Boras. And the guy is not used to taking L's, but they probably should have worked out an extension. He probably should have pushed for it. He didn't. They bet on Bellinger bouncing back after the surgeries and all that. But here we are. He's still a below average big league hitter. However, I think because of his defense, because of what he can do on the base pass, which is now all of a sudden a big weapon for the Dodgers after years of being an old and slow team, I think they can afford to keep Bellinger around, and maybe it is a shorter term deal. But I do not think they're non-tendering Cody Bellinger.
Weren't you just the one who brought up the luxury tax and all of that? And that is money.
I was agreeing with your point that it's more than $17 million.
But
I don't agree with
money.
your point they should let Bellinger walk.
You got to learn to make
This
the hard
seems like a
decisions.
I mean, you're just so big.
You
You're
guys
just
are-
so
you
you were
guys are
so
just
big on this
bad.
chemistry thing, and then you're like, Bellinger, cut him.
You know, that's in the off season, right? It's a whole different team, a whole different ball game once you get into 23.
Right, but that guy's
all
been
the
on the
chemistry
roster
of
every
22
day.
is trash.
That guy's been in the clubhouse every day for years. So whether it happens in February, whether it happens in April, it's going to have an impact on the team.
I agree to disagree.
Guy
Trent Thomas.
Smithson with a super chat with no copy for $2. Thank you.
Thanks, guy.
I like Al's comment.
What else?
But I take it these guys are sponsored by Jim Beam.
What?
You, my friend, have good deductive reasoning.
Wow.
Trent Thomas has raised the prices of beer to $50, and let's pay everybody. Boom. I fixed your problem. Cody can stay. You too, Cody.
I don't need to raise Gary.
Jeff Smezik? Smezik?
Jeff Devannon.
Not Jeff Devannon says, I'm a little worried if the Dodgers stay with status quo.
Hunchy Quo.
I'm kind of fine. I don't, Chris Martin move doesn't necessarily move the needle, but again, it's a fringe addition for the bullpen that needs help. And you got rid of a dude that you were probably going to DFA anyway when you needed a spot for Dustin May and Eddie Rios and all that. It's just, I don't need Juan Soto. I don't need no longer available Luis Castillo.
Hey.
I think we'll all be very excited if they trade for Soto, but none of us are gonna be like, oh, we can't win.
it'd be
the world.
massive.
They can't win the World Series now. Like it's not. I'm not gonna be upset if they don't. In Friedman, we trust.
There you
That's how I
go.
live my life.
Terry says status quo has them in first. What's the issue? I mean, the NL West has not been as good as it should be.
I think the Padres are gonna get better. I know you guys disagree with me, but the Padres are gonna close the
Did
gap.
you
a little bit.
know? Did we even really talk about Josh Hader that much?
No, we skipped it. It was in the intro.
It was just more like they traded for Josh Hader.
Yeah, I mean, does that do enough? They traded a bad closer, the closer that did not work out for them, and got a closer that's had a really, really bad month, but has been, it's a 4-time All-Star, 3-time Rolaids Relief Man of the Year or whatever it is. Like,
Didn't give up an earned run for like 11 months.
And
as
he
our friend
comes
John
with-
Hammond pointed out.
comes with the je ne sais quoi of being Josh Hader.
Excuse me.
I mean,
He
they've
comes
had a
with
lot.
all of the resurfaced tweets again, which I thought, like, how many times are we going to bring up the goddamn tweets? Like, that was
Every
what
time.
4
People don't
years
forget.
ago.
People don't forget.
Twitter doesn't forget. I mean, I
He's
think
a guy that like changed and reformed and has done like good. Like,
Time.
just get over it.
Listen, you
Anyway.
say stupid shit, you're gonna be remembered for it.
I know. I've seen you in Reddit.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Number 4 or 5 starter on a bad team.
Hey, look at him now.
Look at him now. You were gonna do words. It sounded like Eric. Give us some real.
Well, most of their bullpen's been injured all year, so this is like you said, Rogers didn't work out. You know, this is. I don't really think the biggest reason I think the Padres are going to be improved is not because of the Josh Hader trade. I think because they're going to get Tatis back soon, because that starting rotation is just so good. Sorry, they're the best starting rotation in the NL West. I do think they're going to close the gap a little bit. I think the Dodgers still win the division by 4 or 5 games, but I don't see the Dodgers running away with it with 11 or 12 games. I think that, especially if they go out and get Soto, that's a whole different ballgame. But they've been doing all of this, missing Tatis. Machado missed 8 to 10 days with an injury. Like, there's still plenty of talent on that Padres team. There's a reason they had multiple All-Stars. They just extended Joe Musgrove today, who was an All-Star. Cronenworth's been good. Like, there's plenty of talent to close the gap. So I think the Padres will be better moving forward.
We've also done all of this with many guys dead.
Oh,
who
yeah,
are all coming back.
I'm not discounting what the Dodgers are doing.
I think we got more added value. We got more added WAR on the expected WAR on the 60-day than they've added or they were missing. At least, well, I mean, losing Tatis is definitely
it's a lot of WAR.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Buehler,
What is it good for?
This doesn't count for wins. But
it's the first. Sir.
So May he's only doing one more rehab start now?
Two more. As of
2 more.
just minutes ago. 2 more.
That was twittered.
Yeah. Oh, man. Comments are going a little wild here. It's too hard to keep up. Let me go to these comments, so it's also hard to keep up. We got a Chad Billingsley comment in here. Did I mention
Shout out to
Billingsley?
Chad
I
Billingsley.
can't keep up with that. What's happening in the chat right now? There's a lot of stuff going on.
It's going wild.
Yeah,
We appreciate
I tried.
We appreciate some fire.
Sorry, this is a Wendy's.
Fiery,
Shout
speedy,
out for that one.
Fiery, speedy comments. I will note. Los Angeles Wordy says, I say non-tender Clinton is trash takes. You know, I'm honored because often people don't disagree with me strongly. I mean, you're wrong and you're dumb as hell, but I mean, I appreciate the comment because I'm usually
glad to see you didn't take it
so
personally.
right. I'm usually so incredibly right and spot on or spot close with many, many, many takes. Like I wasn't 18 when I said, what did I say about Bellinger? He's wishy-washy. And guess what? Let him go. Let it go.
He also won an MVP after you said that.
Yeah, but
Just want to throw
should
that
he
out
have really
there.
won that MVP?
Hold on.
If Yelich didn't break his kneecap, his ass was MVP.
MVP,
Well, ifs
Gold
and
Glove,
buts.
Silver Slugger. It's a pretty solid year.
I mean, he's pretty
Gold
good.
Glove
man.
worthy, 100%. There's nuts in right field. Moving back to right field, he'll be fixed.
Move Mookie to second, full time.
Juan Soto plays first. Freddie's at third.
No, catcher. Soto at catcher.
Soto
Will
catcher,
Smith will
yeah,
DH.
Oh, yeah. I want a left-handed catcher.
Yeah.
Like
I hate it.
lefty throw. Guys, before we get out of here is our final thoughts presented by our friends at Hornitos. This is my final thoughts. I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this one. Our friends, some of our favorite YouTube coworkers, if you will. By the way, if you're here on YouTube, subscribe, hit that bell, do all the things, leave a comment, leave a like. It helps out the channel. Our friends on the YouTube, Dude Perfect, they're in the midst of a tour for some reason. I mean, they do trick shots and other weird things. But anyways, as part of their tour, they have this segment on their show. It's called Cool Not Cool, where they bring out things and they're trying to get their panel of perfect dudes to like or not like their product. And the tall one, he brought out a trash can for Cool Not Cool. The problem was that he brought out the trash can in Houston and he got booed hardcore. Are we ever going to live down the cheating Astros? Is it ever going to go away?
I liked being a talking trash can.
What do you think, Oscar the Grouch?
I don't think it's ever going to go away.
It shouldn't, right?
I mean, it's just with how good that team was. Cody Bellinger had a pretty good year, by the way, in 2017. With how good that team was, and
was good
just
until
getting
the league learned him and
getting it
did an
stolen
absolute-
away by the Game 5 with Clayton Kershaw, I think, is the reason. Because it not only did it screw over the Dodgers, it screwed over Clayton Kershaw. It added another log to the fire that he's a playoff choke artist.
Yep.
And then it all comes out. You add on Carlos Correa. Thank God for Joe Kelly. But no, it's never going away.
Do you think baseball forgets at any point in time? Or is this, I mean, we're still talking about
Our generation
the
is,
Black Sox,
Our generation is going to remember it for a long time. I don't think.
Memes are forever.
Right. I don't think we're going to have the same vitriol down the line. It's a good word, right? But It's never going to be forgotten. For me personally, I'm pretty past it. I get kind of I get kind of over it.
I don't care, but it's still funny to see. I mean, Dude Perfect, they're like Texas dudes. They're Rangers fans, but they're Texas dudes. And the fact that they did that in Houston, it's pretty ballsy.
People do some cheesy shit with it though too, and I'm like, all right, I don't want anything
like
to do with
wearing
it.
a
Like
whole
wearing
trash
your
can?
colors.
Yeah, that's dumb as hell.
Why do you do that? I don't get that at all.
But that was just the thing. It was my final thought. If you guys think anything about the Astros, let us know in the comments below. And as we wrap up the show, I want to do one final shot of my highball here because my Hornitos is over there. Listen, this is an old-fashioned salute right here, guys. So may the Dodgers stay healthy. May we all stay healthy and alive and not break any toes. And may you go enjoy a fine Hornitos Paloma at the next Dodger game you can, because you can get that there. That's what I plan on doing. So cheers, guys. Appreciate everybody for being here. And we're going to be here tomorrow on Tuesday all through the trade deadline, 2 to 4, live here on YouTube. So come hang out with us. Things will be happening. Pets' heads will be falling off. And I'm going to be here. Help me out. Give me comments. And everybody's going to be kind of moving around and being nuts and crazy. But until then, find us on the internet at DodgersNation.com. That's your home for everything Dodgers and everything rumors and all that kind of fun, delicious stuff. Subscribe to Blue Heaven on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Pandora, everywhere your podcasts are available for free. Go there, subscribe, hit the comment, leave us a 19-star review while you're at it, and subscribe again to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Dodgers Nation TV. Thank you for 50K on YouTube. Let's get 100 million more.
100 million more, guys. I'm at BrookMe3. That guy's at RealFRG. That's at EEULAU. We're all on Twitter and Instagram, and probably, I don't know. We're at Dodgers Nation on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you check us out. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for comments. Thank you for always engaging. All three of us like to be engaged. Join us tomorrow. Trades, rumors, things, drinking,
stuff.
Hornitos, Jim Beam. Bye.